Couple more CDs. One of my favorite records, if you don't know, is Lost Horizons Awakening the World. It is a perfect power metal album. It puts all other power metal to shame. And it came out in like 2001 or so. And the follow-up to it was A Flame to the Ground Beneath. And I have always hated this album because it wasn't Awakening the World. It's, you know, I would probably listen to this every once in a while if Awakening the World had never been released. It's pretty good, but every time I want to listen to Lost Horizon, I listen to Awakening the World. But I've just thought, you know what, I need to give this album the best chance it's got. Might as well have it. Kind of a collector completionist in me. Thought I would pick up their second record. I may go into detail and do like a long review of Awakening the World and maybe kind of drop some comparisons to this in it. But I have just always been super evangelical about Awakening the World and always talked shit about this record. And, you know, that's about that. Next I picked up Mythix Anthology. I don't know. I've always had their Mourning in the Winter Solstice EP. And there's been times, like when I first got into black metal, I thought that was the most hilarious, terrible sounding kind of EP ever. But my tastes have changed so much since then that if you want something just sluggish, plodding, and brutal, and down-tuned, Mythix really delivers. And I had just been thinking, you know what, they've got some couple other releases, and they're all compiled on this anthology. And you know how I love a good death metal posthumous anthology or compilation. Dana Duffy, my friend Mary Bialik, and I don't know, some other gal who does a good job on here. And another reason I bought this, honestly, is I was kind of thinking about getting it, and in the back of my head I thought I should be able to pick that up for like $6 or something. Turns out it's actually kind of valuable, so I went on the hunt for it, and I found a distro out of New Zealand who I can't even remember the name of, and they were selling it, and I thought that the exchange rate between the New Zealand dollar and the US dollar was a little more in my favor, so I ordered it. Come to find out, like, I wound up paying like $21 for this or so. Not exactly worth $21, but hey, I've got it now. I could probably sell it for $25, seeing that it's a little bit more valuable. Okay, this is probably the highlight of this video. I want you to listen to this record if you love infernal fucking black metal. Oh my god, this album has been spinning non-stop. This is Ungod, Circle of the Seven Infernal Pact, black apocalyptic metal. This came out in 1993 on Merciless Records. These guys are from Germany, and I guess I would say every other day of the week for 20 years, I considered this to be just another ho-hum, run-of-the-mill black metal bands. I've had a copy of the Bazazaza split for a long time, and I always preferred Bazazaza, so I always just thought, whatever, it's okay. Ungod is okay. I also have the Conquering One Was Once Ours EP. I need to revisit that, but I probably only played it 2 or 3 times in the course of my life. But this is so good, so stripped down, just brutal frigidity. It's so fucking grim and cold and hateful and dark and fucking black. Man, this is unparalleled, just skin and bones fucking black metal. I love this album, and it's just totally hit the spot. And it has just pushed me into this fucking nosedive into nasty black metal again, which I'm not foreign to whatsoever, but it's been a long time since I've been in a mood for raw, cold, hateful, fucking pitch black metal. And On God, Circle of the Seven Infernal Pacts brings it all the time. Last LP for this round. This was probably my most listened to record in all of 2018. I was addicted to this record, and I'm sorry, but it's not a metal record. But this is Benjamin Todd with I Will Rise. Now, if you don't like folk or country or anything like that, you might as well just fast forward it for a minute. But this album just floored me with its authenticity, its candid, just honesty, and that's really just the selling point that he's bringing to the table. These are so personal songs and stories from this young man. Usually this is the kind of thing, broken man, alcoholic guy that done fucked up and he's been singing songs for 40 years about it. This guy sounds like that, and even though he's got a lot of miles under his belt, he's still a really young guy. And his roots are from kind of a pop punk sort of style, and he's grown from that sort of genre or style melding together and gotten a lot better. I've traced his history all the way back to those albums, and they're not very good, but this is his only solo record. He has promised that he will never do another solo record because it was such a painful process of getting this down on paper, I suppose. Dude is from Kentucky, I believe. He's been a train hopper for years and years and years, but he's a drunk and an alcoholic, fuck up kind of guy. And I love him. I absolutely adore this record. I don't know why it took me so long to get around to buying this LP. He also has a band with his wife called the Lost Dog Street Band. And it's very similar, but it has a lot more sweetness to it with her violins and her harmonies going on here. But this album is very stripped down and minimal, and just you in a room with a guy and a guitar, and he is there to tell you his stories by almost hurting you with how stark and cold his life has been. And when you find those similarities in his lyrics to any quality that you think about yourself, it just hits like a fucking hammer, man. And that is why I love this kind of music. I connect with that kind of music so much more personally than all this other metal shit that I listen to. I listen to metal because it's artistic and it's fun, and it kind of gets out some of my aggressions and emotions and whatnot. But when it comes to a real, honest, personal experience with music, it's stuff like that that just does it for me, and I love it. I guess speaking of that kind of style and having that kind of a connection with an album, this is Kimmy Corky, which I've talked about maybe one or two times on this channel, but I cannot do it enough. This is Eye for an Eye, and this came out on Spart Records. And this is really, really good. So this guy was in Lord Vicar and what is the other? Reverend Bizarre. That's it. And so this is his solo acoustic stuff. It's beautiful. It is just pensive and thoughtful and just amazing. It doesn't really sound anything like Lord Vicar or any of that stuff. Patrick Walker from 40 Watt Sun, whom I love, sings on one of these songs, and it is just gorgeous. It is a song I listened to and got me through a lot last year. Not really a whole lot to look at here, but this is a really incredible release, and the reason I picked it up is because Spart Records was having an insane sale. Spart Records pretty often has good stuff on sale. This was €161, so that probably comes out to about $2.25. Brand new, sealed. Shipping was probably €8 or so, maybe. So I went ahead and ordered 3 CDs. Also picked up Stormcrow Fleet from Skepticism. This is the newly remastered edition. highly controversial for super fans of Skepticism. I'm kind of one, but so much of this album's personality originally came from its unique sound, which was very muffled and dark and foggy and gloomy, and it just had so much personality to it, and it had so much to do with the sonic qualities of the album. But I always kind of felt like I wished that I could kind of clear away some of that fog and listen to the funeral doom metal that was being played. And this does that for me. I don't necessarily wish that this was the way it was the first time around, but now that I'm totally familiar with Stormcrow Fleet, the way that it was intended to be recorded originally, I'm thankful that I had this just to kind of give it some clarity. It's a nice companion to the original, I would say. I'm not comfortable necessarily replacing Stormcrow Fleet with this. Maybe the band intended it to be that way, but I think it's worth your time if you're a big fan of Skepticism or Stormcrow Fleet. I'm giving it my recommendation. Also picked up the Return to Form by Finland's Convulse. And you know, I gave this one listen, and I gotta say I didn't really like it. Certainly not as much as World Without God. Maybe I listened to it twice or so. I don't know, it just kind of sounded a little too grandpa-y, a little too stumbly. It didn't really have a whole lot of the fucking darkness and brutality that I kind of want out of this band. But I don't know, maybe I'll wind up liking it for that reason eventually, but I don't know. It's just not as great as World Without God, and like a lot of albums aren't that are great. Also picked up Stargazer, The Scream That Tore the Sky. Iconia Records, 2000 and whatever. You look it up. I always fuck it up, so I'm not gonna fuck it up this time. 2000 whatever. I'm right. This is a killer two-piece band from Australia, members of Portal and Misery's Omen, who are fucking awesome. I have a kind of rarities compilation album from these guys called Occidental Magic, and I put it on for a video maybe a month or two ago, and it kicked my fucking head in, and I realized that I need to get all of their stuff. So got this on Amazon for like $8 or something, and it's really good. It's really speedy. It's got a lot of like, God, I don't know. If you mix like Cauldron Black Ram, who are fucking awesome, with Death, especially like the Steve DiGiorgio kind of era Death, you would have something kind of like this. It is really, really cool and unique. Couple more left. Yesterday, I picked up Henry Cow, Unrest. I've been talking a lot to my buddy Matthias from Murmur, who I reviewed a couple videos ago. We've been talking a lot about Zool bands. I'm not going to get into it too far, but I'm really going off on a Zool kind of kick. And the other day, This Machine Kills Music, another YouTuber that I've been watching a lot, talked about J.G. Thirlwell, the guy from Fetus, and she mentioned the video where he did a What's in My Bag. And I didn't know there was a What's in My Bag by him, so I immediately stopped her video and watched it. And seconds later, I had purchased this. This is a band that I really love. Fred Frith, who is one of my favorite non-metal musicians, is in this band. Super experimental, super angular, and just bizarre kind of stuff. If you're not into weird stuff, you're not gonna like it. It is fucking just nuts. Realize I'm saying fucking a lot tonight, and it feels great. 3 more albums, and then I'll shut up. All surrounding the letter O. I was down visiting my dad the other day, and their record store kind of sucks, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like taking some things home. Obliteration with Black Death Horizon. Pat Groundsealer of Salem talked about this band the other day, and I realized I wasn't familiar with the album that he was saying was really good. So, picked that up. It is really fun. Also, man, so I was doing some looking around. I just was looking at like people's top 20 lists of the post 2000s, like what are people's best albums. And Blackwater Park by Opeth is on there quite a bit. And when this came out, I listened to it a few times. 2003 now, so it's been 15, 16 years since this came out. And I'm surprised how highly regarded this record is. I revisited it. I don't see what the big deal is about Opeth, so I don't want to crush any dreams by shit talking them because Typo Negative. You all should know Typo Negative. Just one of the most brilliant 90s rock bands ever were. Rock, metal, goth, whatever. They did all three perfectly and created something that was entirely their own. This album is just exuding with Typo Negative personality. No one else can pull this kind of off. It's sleazy, it's gothy, it's atmospheric, it's fucking heavy, it's catchy. It just does, it ticks so many different things off of the list of things that make this a great record. And I think I only had this on tape for a couple of years. It's been a long time ago since I got rid of most of my tapes, so it's been really fun revisiting Bloody Kisses. And that is it. Speaking of fun, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and have some fun. You go have some fun, and we will see you on the flip side, I hope.